Hi guys, Teeple here. Today I got an Acasta replay for you. It's the Tier 4 British destroyer. It's on the map New Dawn, and it's a Domination Mode game. We're going to talk about Domination Mode primarily in this game, like kind of how to approach winning it. Now, for destroyers, Domination Mode, playing the objectives is your core focus of the game. You want to, first off, try and capture it. But if you can't capture it because you're outnumbered or whatever, scouting it and having your team shoot the people that are trying to contest it on the other team is effective. Or even just harassing them yourself and kind of holding them off from capturing it. All those are good strategies. You just don't want to... The longer a team holds on to a cap, the more points that is accrued by holding it. Which, if you played the mode and you've paid attention to the score at all, it's fairly obvious, but it's something that I think isn't focused on as much as it should be. You can kind of think of it like making a deposit in a savings account. Like, if you put $1,000 in your savings account when you're 18, by the time you retire, it's going to be a huge chunk of money. Whereas if you put $1,000 in your savings account a week before you retire, it's not going to really do much for you. So the earlier you can get the capture points working in your favor, it's just going to add up over time, and that's a great way to win this. Now, a lot of players I don't think realize at this point in time how strategically important the center cap is. It's typically the most strategically, influential, because you're either able to exert force on either side from there, or let's say in this instance, our team loses A and we win C. Now, whoever captures B is going to have a little bit of a buffer, so the opposite team is going to likely try and capture B first and then move to C. So you're still going to have C building up that point base over time, but it just kind of acts as a buffer. So. But what I'm noticing is typically players are not, either they're more wary of playing the center because they're afraid of getting shot at from multiple angles, which is a consideration to take in, account for. But I don't think people are putting as much attention on the center of the map as they should. And at the end of the day, this game is all about map control, and holding the center of the map allows you to exert control over a lot more of it than holding an edge of the map. So keep that in mind. Now, like my team, they didn't really send anyone to B except for me. Their team only sent the Icarus. Now, I was able to scare him away just by kind of shooting at him. So we scooted him off. He's going to go try and support his team over at C. He's able to reset me a couple times just by hitting me, but that's fine. I'm just going to sit here and continue to hold on to this cap until we actually start gaining points from it. Now, at this point in time, they're up 2 ships, which means they're up quite a bit in points. But how the scoring works vis-a-vis ships and ships dying, it can flip back and forth very quickly. Not only does the team that kills a ship get points for that, but the team that loses a ship actually loses points. So if you're just trying to win the game by kills, that's fine. It's a fun way to play, but it's not as important in domination as controlling these objectives. Because you can see here, we killed a ship on their side and the score got a lot closer. And because I have captured B, now we have 2 caps that are adding points every 3, 4, 5 seconds, whatever it is. We're getting 6 points to their 3. Now that'll add up very quickly. And what I see, like, here's the theory behind this match, or this game mode. Let's say we had 9 players that could all communicate with each other. They were all in like a clan or whatever, and they were familiar and could rely on each other. Once you have 2 objectives captured, you want to play a lot more conservatively and defensively. I'm not saying sit back and don't do anything, but it's more important to hold on to those than it is to push forward and continue to try and wipe out the enemy team. So I see a lot of games lost by teams that can win just on the score alone. being too aggressive and just pushing into positions where they're kind of vulnerable to the enemy. So again, I'm not saying, you know, just sit back and let the enemy take control of the game, but let's say, like right now, this only ship that's left down here is this Congo. Now I'm trying to support them as best I can, because the quicker the team kills them, the quicker they'll actually return their focus on the game. Like, most players are just blindly focused on killing whatever targets in front of them. So I'm doing my best to try and speed this up. I'm inclined to go forward and try and torpedo this guy. But, you know, just, you can't influence in a random battle, especially if you're playing by yourself. You can't influence what the rest of your team does, but you can control how you play. And if you're, like, if I just parked by B, I could have prevented that destroyer that's in there now from getting in there, or I could have harassed him, could have contested him. So once I notice he's in there, I'm going to turn around and resume trying to focus on winning the game. But my thinking at the time was, if we can kill that Congo, then we'll have that side completely wrapped up and we can resume focus on the center of the map. And analyzing our layout of this map, like the team to the north, the enemy team, they've been unspotted for roughly 2 minutes. Now obviously they've been able to move their destroyer into the cap, which is a major problem. He's about to actually capture it. My team is still focused on the Congo, so they're basically all trying to deal with him. So, and we have the heaviest weight, the biggest guns that are way, way, way far away. If they are able to influence the map at all, we'd be lucky, or the match at all at this point, we'd be lucky. Assuming they can kill that Congo again. Now that salvo there, that was partially intended for the cruiser that was behind there, and also for the destroyer that was, I was 95% certain he was parked behind that island that the Albo is on the far side of. And there's a 50-50 chance he's going to go left or right, so. And you can see there, we're actually, you can call that a lucky strike or not, but that was I was actually thinking about that situation, but I find torpedoing cruisers not very profitable in a lot of situations, but because that strike was there where the destroyer was going to move once he captured, that was actually, you know, a good play in my mind and something to think about. But now you can see the lineup of the layout of the enemy. They're fairly advantageous. They're kind of surrounding me, which is going to prevent me from really pressuring B until I clear up one side. Now I'm kind of targeting this Congo. Battleships are obviously the easiest to kill for destroyers because of their low maneuverability, and also because of this large hit point pool. It's going to be the most profitable for my team if I can either completely remove him or at least whittle him down significantly. But because we were in the middle of a reload, I kind of had to circle back around. And I'm really trying to avoid being detected here is my main goal. But we do get a spread in the water there. I'm assuming that was the Japanese cruiser's salvo there. I don't recall if I was detected at all or if that was just kind of a blind salvo, but pretty effective play on his part. He could have got me with that. Now the British destroyers, keep in mind they do have 6 minute-long smoke charges, so you can use them offensively quite effectively. Here I'm trying to set a fire, but we're actually able to hit him with quite a bit of torpedo action, and he gone. So that ended up being a very nice play. So that clears up the north pressure for me. Now we still do have that one ship that's undetected. I'm not sure where he is, but from my perspective I'm thinking, well, I can get back into that cap now and hopefully recapture it. That's going to be the most important thing for our team right now. Again, we're up in score because we're up in ships, but they're accruing more points at this point, just kind of in the background. So that's going to be an advantage for them that I need to try my hardest to overturn as quickly as possible. Now, while I'm shooting this Alba right now, he's not focused on me, and I'm trying to just support my team, who's advertently or inadvertently trying to support me capture this, but in retrospect, that was a bad play. That caused me to be detected, and we take a salvo from that battleship that's moved forward, or we're he was briefly sighted, so now we have a little bit better position. So they have 2 cruisers to our southwest and this New York to kind of the west-northwest heading from our position. So again, fairly precarious, but I'm doing now what I should have done earlier and just kind of letting the guns go silent, try and remain unspotted and resume capturing this position. Now again, we are detected. That's going to be a problem. I'm trying to, if this Alba is going to pressure me directly, I could probably fairly easily hit him with the torpedo there, but looks like he's moving away. So I'm just going to move it behind this island here to become undetected again. And I want to save my torpedoes at this point because I have a strong inclination to believe that both these cruisers are going to move into position to kill me. Obviously, cruisers are a massive threat to destroyers, so I need to be very careful, and then the battleship presumably would be pressuring my position as well. So now we do have the point captured at this point, though, keep in mind, so that was a good turn of events for our team. But I'm still, in my mind, I'm trying to use that island to the right, either to kill the New York, preferably from my perspective, just because, again, massive amount of hit points that I'm able to remove the quickest as a destroyer. Or if these cruisers are going to pressure me, then I want to get them just as they come around the island. I'm assuming this Alba is going to turn tight around that island and kind of try and close them onto my position very quickly. So I should be moving forward and countering that Alba more aggressively here. I'm kind of in a bad position because this plane has spotted me, so he can tell what I'm doing. I can't tell what he's doing until right now. Now, again, I thought he was going to be hugging that island very tightly. Unfortunately, he was playing it a lot wider, which is probably a good play from his perspective. So I dropped the smoke defensively. I got some AP rounds. I'm going to try and citadel this guy to death if possible. But he smoked me really hard there, and we're on fire. So that's the end of our game very shortly. But again, the more damage I can do, the more likely we are able to pull the situation off and put a win on the board. So once he starts to angle, I notice the Pensacola comes around. He's more broadside to me, so I switch over to him, and we're able to get another couple nice shots there. So, and again, you know, just doing what I can to do as much damage as possible, but it's not looking good for me, and they're able to finish me off. So we do end up winning this game, and I would say it was, I don't like to take credit for things, but because I was heavily capturing B, we win it on score, so that added up a lot of points that we relied on to win. So if you want to win more Domination Mode games, play the cap. that's what it boils down to. But I hope that kind of gave you some insight into how I approach it, and hopefully that helped you. So that's it for this one. 133k damage in a tier 4 destroyer. That's something I would take pretty much every game, any day of the week. If you liked the video, please hit the thumbs up. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing for plenty more World of Warships coming all the time. Questions, comments, anything on your mind, leave them below. Love to hear from you guys. And we'll see y'all later. Alright, peace.